Welcome. In this video, we're going to discuss how to create a rubric for a Google LTI assignment. So I'm in Canvas and I have created a sample assignment. So the next thing I'm going to do is connect it to the external tool. Once you reach the Create a Google Assignment page within Canvas, you're going to attach your document, set your points, and your due date. Then you can create your rubric. If you'd like to check for plagiarism using an originality report, you can turn that on. Please know that you can only use this 3 times with each student. Click the plus sign and you'll be given the option to create, reuse, or import from Google Sheets. If you're reusing a rubric, it will be given the title of the assignment it was previously used for. We're going to create a rubric from scratch. If you've used Google rubrics before in Google Classroom, this is very similar. The one issue you do need to know is that in Canvas, once you create the rubric and then save the Canvas assignment, you will not be able to come back and edit the rubric or change it. If you create an assignment without a rubric, you won't be able to add it later. This has to be done when you are creating the assignment. It's going to ask you for a title, description, points, a level for that title, and a description. Again, you can leave any segments blank that are not required. Let's start off with a simple example. Let's say that you're using a Google Slides and you've asked a question on slide 1. I'm going to enter the title S1 Q1 for slide 1, question 1. Under the description, you can insert that information, slide 1, question 1, or you can leave it blank. I know that I'm going to have 3 levels. I suggest that you start with the highest level and then go to the lowest towards the right. This is because when you see it in the grading window, you'll see things in a very small section on the right-hand side, and it'll be easier for you to select the items in that order. Here I'll say something like correct, partially correct, or incorrect. And depending on how simple or difficult your question is, you can add more or even less levels. You could simply have it say 1 point for correct and 0 points for incorrect. Let's move on to something more difficult. We're going to add another criterion. This time, let's try capitalization. I'm going to insert a description of what my standard and expectation is for the students. Again, I'm going to enter my different levels of points. Then I'm going to enter the title for each. When the students see this, they'll understand what my expectation is and how their errors will affect their grade. Let's try one more that's a little more complicated. This time we're going to discuss a thesis statement. Now this one is a little bit longer of a criterion title. Just know that your most important word should be the first. Because again, when you see this in the grading window, you're going to see a smaller section, maybe only 10 characters worth of your criterion title. So make sure that keyword is up front. Always include a clear description of your standard for the students. Once you enter the standard, then enter in your point values, titles, and more detailed descriptions if you feel it's necessary. For this criterion, I'm going to use 5 different blocks. and it will start at 0 and work its way up to 4 points. I'm going to use standard titles that are related to most writing tasks. And I'm also going to include a level for not present, meaning the student didn't do what I asked them to do at all. For each one of these criteria and point levels, I'm going to include a more detailed description. I'll enter those now. For each one of these descriptions, I describe whether it exceeds, meets the standard, needs improvement, or is unacceptable or absent. This is a clear way for the students, again, to understand how what they produce will achieve which score. Now I'm going to save this rubric. To see what the rubric will look like when the students view it, you can click here. So the students will get this type of information when they're trying to see how their assignment will be scored. And they can see this whenever they're looking at their assignment or working on their assignment. So don't put correct answers inside your descriptions, or they'll have access to that while they're working on the assignment. You'll see the assignment much like this when you're in the grading window. You'll see your short title and blocks that represent your point values. When you're scoring, you'll just click on the block that you are providing points for, and the points will be entered here. I hope you found this video helpful and you're able to use it when creating and scoring your Google assignments in Canvas.